the tragic love story of John and Anna. A love that couldn't be. In the year 1850, deep in the misty mountains, where the Hmong people lived, society was still full of injustice. The rich and powerful ruled, and those who held authority often had multiple wives. Whenever they set their eyes on a girl, they would take her as their wife regardless of her will. Mong Famin, a small village nestled deep in the forested hills, there lived a young man named John. He was an orphan with no family, no relatives, taken in as a cattle herder by Aile. That family also had a daughter named Anna, a beautiful and intelligent girl, born into a humble but decent household, like many others in the village. Because he was an orphan, John didn't get to go to school. He spent his days herding cattle, working in the fields, and doing chores. Even though Anna was born into a wealthy family, never once looked down on him. Whenever she had free time, she'd bring food to John out in the fields, then sit beside him on the hill, patiently teaching him the alphabet and numbers she had learned in the village's informal school. When they were younger, John and Anna played together, often running through the hills, picking wildflowers, bathing in the stream, watching forest blossoms and white waterfalls cascade down the cliffs. One day, a heavy rainstorm hit. The stream swelled and water rushed strong. John waited, but Anna didn't come with lunch like usual. Worried, he headed back toward the village. As he approached the stream, he saw Anna standing on the other side, clutching the food package, afraid to cross the raging water. Without hesitation, John jumped into the water and made his way across to her. Soaked to the bone, he simply smiled when she urged him to go home and change his clothes. "The cows are still out there," he said. "I need to get back." He took the food and turned across the stream once again. Before he left, he told Anna to go on home and that he'd dry his clothes by the fire later. Only when he saw her silhouette disappear behind the hill did John finally return to his shelter. Time passed quietly. One afternoon, as usual, Anna brought lunch to the field, but John was nowhere to be found. She searched across the hills and fields, but couldn't see him. Eventually, she returned to the small shack and found him lying curled up on the bed, shaking with a high fever. Without hesitation, she held him, ran home to boil medicinal herbs, and brought them back. That night, John finally woke to see Anna dozing off by his bedside. He gently called her name, telling her to go home. It was late, but she shook her head and said, "You're still sick. I can't leave. If you don't get better tomorrow, I'll take you to my home for stronger medicine." Then, she fed him warm porridge she had prepared in advance. They sat by each other all night, talking about anything and everything. Years passed. John grew into a handsome, strong, young Hmong man. Anna became the most graceful and beautiful girl in the village. They had grown up side by side, their hearts tied to each other without even realizing it. But even though their love was clear, John never dared to ask for her hand. He knew his place an orphan, with no land, no home, no dowry. In Hmong culture, family background meant everything. Then came the New Year festival, the biggest celebration of the year. It was a time for Hmong youth to gather, sing, dance, and find life partners. That year, a man named Jane came from another village. He was the son of a powerful village chief from across the mountain. Though he already had 2 wives, the moment he saw Anna, he became obsessed. He returned home and spoke to his father. Just days later, Jane's family brought offerings, pure silver, rare fabric, fine liquor to Anna's parents, asking for her hand as his third wife. The offerings were too grand, and Jane's family too powerful. Anna's parents accepted without asking her. In their eyes, marrying into a rich household was a blessing. When Anna learned of this, she was devastated. That night, she secretly wrote a letter and asked her younger sister to bring it to John out in the fields. John, my parents have agreed to give me to Jane as his third wife. They've already accepted the silver and cannot go back. If you still want to see me one last time, please return to the village now." John read the letter, his heart shattering. He tucked it into his shirt and ran straight to Anna's house. But once there, he only stood from afar, watching. When he saw her in her Hmong wedding attire, following Jane to her new home, John silently followed behind, watching her disappear. From then on, John wandered near Jane's home every day, just hoping to see Anna again. He always carried a letter in his pocket. Anna? If there is a next life, I hope I will be born into a rich family, with parents by my side, and that you are born into a poor one so I can marry you, protect you, and give you everything I couldn't in this life. One day, Jane's guards noticed John loitering around and caught him. They searched his clothes and found the letter. Seeing Anna's name, they suspected an affair. Enraged, Jane accused John of trying to seduce his wife and had him imprisoned. 3 days later, John was brought to the village square for judgment. The elders declared, if it rains in the next hour, he is innocent. If not, he shall be executed. The sky stayed dry. They read John's final letter aloud for everyone to hear. His voice echoed through the mountains. If there is another life, I hope I can protect you forever. In this one I could not. When the reading ended, the executioner raised his blade. John died at just 20 years old. Anna saw everything. The pain was unbearable. Days later, she refused food, then quietly ended her life by hanging. In her final note, she asked to be buried beside John, but Jane wouldn't allow it. He ordered that she be buried on the opposite side of a large boulder from John, so even in death, they would never be returned. And so, the love of John and Anna, pure and bright like the springtime flowers of the Hmong highlands, was torn apart by cruelty, injustice, and the cold hand of fate. Many decades had passed since the tragic love story of Anna and John faded from memory. Everyone who once knew them was gone, and their story became nothing more than a whisper lost in time. But while the world forgot, destiny did not. Anna and John were reborn into new lives. In this lifetime, John became Jack, and Anna was now Emma. Jack was born into a wealthy family. As their only child, he was deeply loved and well-educated. Meanwhile, Emma came into the world under much humbler circumstances. Her family was poor and life was never easy. Just as in his past life, Jack was expected to follow in his parents' footsteps. By the time he turned 18, he was already learning the family business. But when he turned 20, something strange began to happen. Every afternoon, during his short naps, he had the same dream over and over again. In his dream, Jack was walking side by side with a girl. They laughed together, shared quiet moments, and looked at each other with deep affection, like two people who had loved each other for a long time. But just as the dream was about to end, the girl would begin to cry. She looked straight at him with sorrow in her eyes, and then everything turned dark. Jack would wake up, startled and confused, with an aching feeling around his neck. Every time he checked the clock, it was exactly 11:55 a.m. One day, just after waking from the dream again, Jack saw his mother walking in with a young woman. She wore simple, old clothes, but her face was strikingly beautiful. As she passed by, Jack felt something stir deep within him, a strange sense of familiarity. His mother turned to him and said, "Jack, this is our new housemaid. She'll be working here from now on. If you ever need help with anything, feel free to ask her." Jack couldn't stop looking at the girl. She looked just like the one in his dreams. "What's your name?" Jack asked softly. "It feels like I've seen you somewhere before. Have we met?" The girl smiled kindly. "My name is Emma. Today is my first day working here." Jack's heart fluttered. "It's nice to meet you, Emma. Welcome." They spoke only briefly before Jack's mother led Emma away, but from that moment on, Jack couldn't stop thinking about her. He couldn't concentrate on work or anything else. That night, Emma also dreamed of Jack. In her dream, they were always together, walking, talking, laughing, like they had known each other forever. But during the day, Emma stayed distant. To her, Jack was her employer's son, someone far above her. Still, each night she dreamt of him, and each day she quietly hoped to see him. And every day, Jack continued to dream of her. Every time, it ended the same way, with the girl crying and the clock reading 11:55. They both had these dreams, yet neither of them dared to speak about it. Sometimes, they wanted to ask the other if they were dreaming too, but fear and hesitation kept them silent. A month passed. Jack decided he wanted to grow closer to Emma before talking about his dreams. He wanted her to feel comfortable with him first. One morning, around 6 a.m., Emma was walking to work when she noticed someone following her. She turned and saw a man in simple clothes. It was Jack. He smiled and called out, "Emma, you live pretty far from here? Huh? Do you walk to work every day?" Emma blushed a little. "My home isn't too far. I walk every morning." "But why are you walking today? Won't you get tired?" Jack chuckled. "I just felt like walking. It's good for the body, sometimes. I hope I'm not bothering you." Emma looked a bit concerned. "You're not bothering me. I'm just worried people might get the wrong idea. Maybe it's better if you don't walk with me next time." Jack stopped and asked gently, "Why do you say that? Don't you want me to walk with you?" "It's not that," she replied quickly. "You look tired. I don't want you to get sick." Jack smiled warmly. "Thank you for worrying about me. You can think whatever you want, but please let me walk with you, just like this, every morning." Emma hesitated, then said softly, "All right, as long as you're sure." From that day on, the morning walks continued. They talked, they laughed, and with every step, the space between them grew smaller, though their feelings still remained hidden. One rainy morning, as Emma walked alone, a car pulled up beside her. The window rolled down. It was Jack. "Hop in," he said. Time passed. They were no longer strangers. One day, Jack invited Emma to a mountain covered in blooming flowers. They sat side by side, watching the view in peaceful silence. Then, Jack turned to her and said, "Emma, if I told you I loved you, even before we met, would you believe me?" Emma looked at him, surprised. "Why are you asking me that? Is something wrong?" Jack took a breath. "I don't know if you'll believe me, but every day, at exactly 11:55 a.m., I dream of you. I've dreamed of you since the first time we met. I always wanted to tell you, but I was afraid you'd think it was silly." Emma stared at him. Her eyes softened. "I believe you," she said, "because I've had the same dream. Every night, I see you. I didn't understand it, but when I saw you in real life, it all felt so familiar. I didn't say anything because I was afraid you'd laugh or think I was strange. I don't even know what it all means." Jack reached out gently. "Can you tell me your dream?" Emma nodded. "In the dream, you and I are always together like lovers. But at the end, someone takes you away. And when I wake up, my heart still hurts." Jack looked at her deeply. "Maybe we knew each other in a past life. Maybe we made a promise, and that's why we keep finding each other." Emma whispered, "I don't know, but when I dream of you, I miss you all week." Jack smiled. "Then this time, I'll find you. I'll protect you. I'll marry you, and never let you go." They held hands, quietly feeling the truth they had carried for lifetimes. When they returned, Jack went straight to his parents. "I want to get married," he told them. His parents asked, "To who?" Jack said firmly, "You may not agree, but I want to marry the girl I've been dreaming of for months. Our housemaid, Emma." His father nodded. "Your life is yours, son. We raised you, but we don't own your future. If this is what you truly want, we'll support you." But his mother was furious. "We only have one son. I want you to marry someone from a good, wealthy family, someone who can help you. Not a maid. If you insist, I'll fire her immediately." Jack said nothing. He hoped she would change her mind. Meanwhile, he and Emma continued to see each other in secret, but his mother grew suspicious. She hired people to follow them. 3 days later, those people reported back. Jack and Emma were still meeting. Angry, his mother said, "I paid you already. Make sure they never see each other again. Do whatever it takes. If you can't do it in 3 days, you're fired." On the third night, exactly 3 months since Jack and Emma first met, Emma was walking home after buying vegetables. In a quiet alley, someone grabbed her and pushed her into the water. 2 days passed, and Emma didn't show up for work. Jack went to her house. Her parents looked devastated. They hadn't seen her either. Jack hired people to search for her. 2 days later, they found her body. She was gone. Jack was crushed. Deep inside, he knew who was responsible, but he had no proof. And from that day on, the dreams stopped. No more. 11:55. Months later, Jack had one last dream. In it, Emma smiled and said, "Jack, I've been waiting for you. I'll meet you again in the next life." The next morning, Jack woke early and visited Emma's grave, but he never returned home. When they found him, he had passed away, lying beside her grave. That day, his mother wept in regret, but it was too late. 50 years later, Jack and Emma were reborn into the world again. But in this life, they were born as fraternal twins, a boy and a girl in the same family. Because they had different parents, they were given new names. Jack became Ethan, and Emma became Mia. From the moment they were born, both babies cried nonstop day and night. Their parents were exhausted and had no idea what to do. Desperate, they took the babies to see a Buddhist monk and asked for guidance. After looking at the children, the monk sighed, "These two don't accept the names you've given them. The girl must be renamed Anna, and the boy must be called John. They were lovers in many past lives but could never truly be together. Their longing to be with each other was so deep that, in this life, they were reborn as twins just to stay close. If you truly want the best for them, change their names and give one of them to be adopted by another family. When they grow up, allow them to marry and be together." Shocked, but trusting the monk, the parents brought the twins home. They eventually decided to let a relative adopt the girl, Anna. But once the children were separated, something strange happened. They cried even more, refused to eat, and became sick with sadness. Scared, the parents returned to the monk. This time, the monk explained, "They are soulmates from many past lives. Being apart causes them great pain. If that's the case, don't separate them. Let them grow up together. And if, when they are adults, they still want to be together, then let destiny take its course." So the twins were raised together in the same home. As they grew, they became inseparable. By the age of 6, they did everything side by side. If one disappeared even for a moment, the other would panic and run around searching. But as time went on and they matured, their deep, romantic connection faded. Growing up as siblings, they no longer saw each other as potential partners. Eventually, John married someone else, and Anna did too. Though they had separate families, they always watched over each other with deep affection, like two souls forever connected. And that's where the love story of John and Anna ends. Though they waited and longed for each other across lifetimes, fate never allowed them to be together. Still, their story lives as a quiet testament to a love that refused to give in to destiny. Thank you for listening. Wishing you a peaceful night and sweet dreams.